Welcome, welcome, welcome. Dr. D here with another great webinar planned for you today. I'm going to go ahead and jump right into this webinar. Let me share my screen with you. There we go. All right, and so this webinar is called How to Develop Webinars to Create Multiple Streams of Income. I only have one slide up right now because we are going to do some things together. But there we go, had a little lag there. All right, and so let me just give you a little bit of background about me. I am a clinical psychologist. I've been in the mental health field for about 16 years. Over the years, since working, even in grade school, I've always had the gift of doing different types of administrative tasks, creative in the space of making different Word documents, PowerPoint documents. I am also an adjunct professor. And so creating not just content, but visual content in order to grab the attention of the audience, in order to help people remember things, is something I'm very, very good at. And so on my personal website, I have a catalog of webinars that I've created and continue to create in order to educate people. And if, in case you weren't aware, oftentimes people want to learn in convenience. I earned all of my degrees online, although I did go to brick and mortar schools for a short period of time, being as I am a mother, but also a wife at the time. And so my attention was required in many different areas. I still wanted to educate myself in order to advance my career in the mental health field. And so in order to do that, I, needed to go to school and get the knowledge base in order to do that. And so I was able to do that with online learning. I quickly developed an appreciation for online learning in 1999, 2000 I quickly, I thought it was the best idea that anyone could ever come up with, because most of the people of influence that I knew at the time were already established. And so they went to school before they started a family. I kind of did it in reverse. I went to school a little bit and then I started a family. And so my family became my priority, my number one priority, but I also had the priority of wanting to educate myself. And so at any rate, moving right along, I've used PowerPoint just forever. I don't even want to try to tell you all of the different names for these different software that Microsoft has, because I've seen the evolution of them. But PowerPoint, which is what we're going to use today, is a great way to develop the visual content in order to educate people on things. And so I'm actually going to create this PowerPoint while I'm doing the training with you to see how I create these things, and you can be able to replicate this if you put in the work. And so first and foremost, you have to recognize what your end goal is when you're teaching some type of material or content. And so the purpose of this is not just to teach you how to make a PowerPoint presentation, but also to give you some idea on how to deliver content and teach. Everyone is a teacher. They just may not know how to teach effectively. And so the first thing I want to start with is I'm going to actually end this. Okay. No, I don't want to save it. All right. So first and foremost, you have to decide what it is that you want to teach about. And so today I want to teach how to create, how to make webinars, right? So when you open up the PowerPoint presentation, PowerPoint application, I'm sorry, it'll take you to a blank screen, and then what you can do is click new right there. Okay, and so when I click new, it gives me some different templates, which is basically the background, and each template has a set thing that can kind of help you start off if you don't know how to create these different things on your own. And so I could type in business, for example, and see what types of webinars it gives me. And so power presentations they give me. And so here's some different ones, and I can take a look at it and say, do they match what I want? And yeah, maybe, I don't really see anything, right? So I go back and then, I could get it to show me more if I like. And there we go. And then it can take me, I'll go all the way through them, and I could constantly keep looking. And then it also says, it tells you right here, if you don't know what you're looking for, then, you can go to the box and type templates or things. And I want to let you know one thing I love about the Microsoft suite is that you could always ask it questions. And so if, some of the stuff you forget and you're not really sure about, you can ask it questions. So I'm going to go back to the one that I previously picked. Okay, and it's downloading my template. Normally it would ask me, do I want to create it? And I would click create, but it's not going to ask me that because I've used this template before. All right, and so the name of this webinar, there it is. Here's my name. You definitely want to title your videos. Okay. There we go. Now, because I cut and paste that, came up the color I don't want it. I want it to be white so you can see it. There we go. Now, here's my first slide. It is this particular template. Some templates have several slides, but this one in particular has 2. Now, I'm looking at this first slide, and if I like it, great. I can keep moving on and create the next slide. But here's this nice little button right here called Design Ideas. It's a designer. I click on that, and what it's going to do most of the time, sometimes it won't, most of the time, instead of me playing with it and trying to place things in different ways and make it look creative, which is what you had to do years ago when I used it. You literally had to drop every text box, every graphic in a certain spot. But this little wonderful thing will give you some ideas. And so this is how I'm able to quickly create different webinars. And would you look at that? It doesn't look just like the first one, but it looks great nonetheless. And I can look at all these different ones, how to develop webinars to create multiple streams of income. Look at that. Those look great, right? But I like things that stand out. One of the things that as an instructor that I'm aware of is that people learn in 3 types of ways, okay? They learn visually. They learn by what they see. They learn auditory, right? Through auditory, through what they hear. And they also learn kinesthetically. They learn by doing things, right? And some learn, some people have cater more to one than the other. I am more of a visual learner. That's why I love PowerPoint and just all the colorful things you can do with it. But I also learn by doing things with my hands. And so that is how I teach my audience. I don't know unless I assess every single person as a psychologist to know what their learning style is. And so rather trying to figure out what their learning style is, I teach in all 3. The problem with many instructors is that they teach the way that they learn, and it's counterproductive. Although I use lots of visual things, I also teach in a way that gets people to hear. Okay, and so I say things. I can also create pictures with stories, right? And then I also teach people with how to do things with their hands. And so by sitting here today, showing you these visual cues, and then by speaking, right? And then also by actually step by step walking you through how to do a presentation, I'm covering all three. And so whatever it is that I teach in any webinar or in any classroom or anything like that, that I want someone to do, even in my counseling practice, something that I want my clients to do, I model it, okay? And so you want to be doing the same thing on your webinar. And so here we go. This is the first slide, okay? You want something, boom, to get the audience's attention, but you also want it to be simple enough that they just know they know exactly what it is that they're getting themselves into. And so how to develop webinars to create multiple streams of income is target on. I'm teaching that, okay? Now, I go to the next template, and this particular template, if I wanted to use some type of timeline or something like that, and they have some other examples here, and I'm gonna just play with it for a minute to see if anything that I like. None of those appeal to me. This kind of appeals to me a little bit, but like I told you guys, I'm very colorful. So let's see which one I like better. I wonder if I can change that. Yes. Okay. So what I shared with you early on was a little bit of background about me. So before you start giving, I'm sorry, let me back up. Let's first talk about purpose. You first want to let the audience know before you go to background, the purpose, which I let you know on the first slide. And so the purpose of this is to teach how to develop a webinar, educate on how webinars can create additional income. And then let's see, one other thing. I like threes. I don't know why, but you could just have two if you want it. Let's see. And you see on the side, it's already giving me other ideas. Let's see. Teach how to develop a webinar, educate on how webinars can create additional income, and build confidence in using PowerPoint to make presentations. Okay. And so I'm going to put a 1 there. I'm going to put a 2 here. And I'm going to put a 3 there. Okay. Now let's see what types of ideas. Now, once you type in everything, what you have to do is reset it. And so you have to come out of the dialog box, and now it gives me different examples. There we go. How to develop a webinar, build confidence. You know, it's kind of redundant, the 2 little icons, although we can change the icons, but I want to see. I kind of like that a little bit better. That's okay, but that's kind of elementary. So I prefer this one. And so we'll use that. And you want to have grammar and punctuation as best as possible. So I'll go back and put my period. It'll give me other examples as I come and click off the screen here. I don't necessarily want to change it at this point, but just so you could see the other options. Because I definitely like that. All right, and so I told the person, the audience, the purpose. Then the second thing you heard me give was my background, and so I just start typing. Now, one thing that I didn't do here, because I want you to see the full evolution, before I even start a PowerPoint, what I do is do a basic outline. If you've ever written a paper for college or anything like that, or for high school, they taught you how to make a basic outline. And so that's what I'll do. I sometimes, if I'm in my car, if I'm waiting on something, or just wherever I'm sitting, I'll use my phone, take a little bit of notes, make the outline, I'll write it in a notebook, you know. Or if I'm sitting here and I'm already ready to create it, I do something very simple, which is create an outline. And then I can use the outline to cut and paste everything into my webinar later. So, you know, there's the title page, right? And then I set the purpose. And then the next thing would be background. And then, you know, I may say something like, after background, it could be how to create the webinar content, or creating content, because creating content, let me explain a little bit about that. When you're making these slides, you may see people with like 1,000 words on there. That's not good. You want at least maybe 6 words per sentence and no more than 5 or 6 bullets, because you don't want people just reading your slide. You want to know your material and your content. And so if I'm creating the outline, I do that. I could do bullet points if I wanted, or I can do Roman numerals. No one's grading this. This is just so that you get organized, creating content. And I may say marketing. And then, thank you. You would say call to action if you want it. And then you could go thank you, you know, and I would have, mind you, my outlines are a lot more detailed than that, but this is just for the purposes of training. So, you know, I gave my background, clinical psychologist, 16 years in the mental health field. I don't need to write more than that because I know my own stuff. I'm an adjunct professor, prior admin, and did I share anything else? I don't think I did, but I can share that I have an online presence, online business, put it that way, okay? And so I come out of here again, and then let's see what templates they give us, okay? So that kind of looks like the first one. You don't want to bore people to death. Get exciting with it. That seems okay. I kind of like that one. I like the pictures. Again, I told you about visual. This one is making it look more like it's sequential and or chronological, and that's not the message that I'm trying to get across. That looks like the other one we had. Again, that looks like some type of step. So I don't like any of those. So I'm going to go back here. Although that one right there isn't too bad. But I like that one because it's much more creative. Now, let's just show you already. We've already started creating a wonderful webinar here. All right. And so that little, in case you didn't see me clicking here, this little button right here helps lets you start the slideshow. You can also go right here and click slideshow and from the beginning. So if I was on the 3rd slide, rather than, I could tell it to go to from the current slide or from the beginning. And what I shared with you guys earlier is that I've been doing this so long that sometimes I forget to list every little single step. And so here, this even tells you how you could record a presentation. So if I wanted to record what I'm doing, if I wanted to just have the PowerPoint playing in the background and everything like that, and I wasn't doing this live right now, then what would happen is I would set the timings and all that, but that is for a much more advanced training. So let's go here and look at our little webinar so far. And there we go, how to develop webinars to create multiple streams of income, my name. Now I can just click the mouse and it'll go to the next slide. I can hover over here. You see that? And it goes to the next one and I can go back. I can use the back and forth arrow to move around. I can use up and down. These are all the different buttons that I'm using. And so far we have started creating a webinar. All right, and now let's go to the next thing here. All right, and we can go back to my outline, which is going to make it so simple for us. What was the next thing that I said I want to do? Creating content. All right, and so creating content. Okay, and you want to think of who is your audience. Typing too fast. And what do you want them to learn? Okay, and let's go back to, you're like, uh-oh, what happened to that screen? There, we have to go back to the home, and then we click on designs, and let's see what they give me. All right. And sometimes if this wasn't just me, what I do, if I wasn't doing this in front of you all, I will change up the whole template look if I don't like the output that they're giving me. And this is pretty plain. Now let me show you how I would do that. Now that's not that bad. That's pretty good. I could actually work with that a little bit. It's not as fancy schmancy as I'd like it to be though. So we're going to change that in just a second. But I can make this a little bit bigger. And on the other side, they're trying to tell me it's too big, but I can do it the way that I want to do it. Look at that. And then sometimes you may think, okay, it looks great. But then if you go to the presentation, let me move my picture out of the way. All right. I go to my picture and it doesn't really stand out that much. It looks okay, but it also looks a little bit elementary. So watch this. We go to designs, and here is this box here that gives me all these different colors and ways that I could change this around. So as I go through this, let's see, what is something that might make me feel warm and fuzzy? Let me click that. And that definitely did not make me feel warm and fuzzy. So what I can do is I can click that and go undo, or I can do something like that, okay, and change up colors, I'm sorry, the fonts and things like that, the various themes, and then I can even change the colors if I don't like the colors, okay, background colors. I can go here, let me move my face again, and I kind of really do like that color, but I'm just let you see some of the other ones. Red isn't so bad, but it is kind of hard on the eyes, and purple's okay, but this blue was working for me. There we go. And so I can keep the first design that I had, or I can tweak it a little bit, and I don't want to, and I go to the next slide, see if there's anything that I want to change there. And I like that. Look at that. Now that looks like a star webinar. All right, and then I go here. I still pretty much like what I have, but that looks even better to me anyway. You may be on the other end disagreeing. And then here's me creating a different one. And to be quite frank, I like this new, I like it the way it is with new colors. Only thing I want to do, I'm going to use this to move that over a little bit so it stands out a little. It's not lined exactly with the title. I can also do this, stretch that out a little bit. So I need to do a little bit more. There we go. So that creating content is the overarching thing. I can move this around. There we go. And then I go to my presentation and see, does it look like, I keep getting in the way. There we go. Does it look like I want it to look? It absolutely does. All right, so creating content. And so back to other parts of the instruction. Who is your audience? Who are you teaching? And so my audience would be individuals, first and foremost, that likely follow me on social media. because that's where I promote a lot of my content. It may also be my clients or potential clients that would seek me out through looking for a psychologist online. And so keeping in mind that, there's a variety of different people on social media. There's a variety of different people that will be looking for you online. However, I know my avatar. Okay, I know my client base. My client base is typically a woman, middle-aged woman. I've had some range from 25 to 44, but typically early 40s, that is either married or divorced or separated, has children, is usually educated, has some type of degree, graduate or higher degree, oftentimes, or is pursuing that. Also has struggles with some type of anxiety is another one. Often my avatar is also writers and individuals that want to expand and grow in the online space. And so those are the individuals that I do this content for whenever I put it out. Now, mind you, do I have other people that buy my content? Absolutely. The other people that kind of fall under that are just individuals that may struggle with anxiety of any age, individuals that may struggle with parenting, have also, but my core avatar or my core client is the client that I just described to you. So you want to know who your audience is. You don't want to do a presentation for everyone because your delivery will suck. So think about going into a board meeting, right? And you know that you're in front of the board of directors, okay? Your presentation for the board of directors would look different from a presentation with your colleagues, right? And so you want to know who your audience is. And now you want to know, what do you want them to learn? Okay, what's the end result? Have the end in mind. Don't just start doing, oh, I'm gonna do a webinar, and then you do this whole thing, and at the end, the person has like no clue what the purpose of that was. And so you start with the end in mind, and that's that slide that we go back here that I said, purpose is to teach you how to develop a webinar, which we are doing right now. This is recording, right? To build confidence in using PowerPoint. And so while you may not from this one training become proficient at using PowerPoint, by the time we finish here, you should have the confidence to make a simple PowerPoint presentation for your audience. And then thirdly, educate on how webinars can create additional income. So boom, that's what I want people to know and learn. All right. And so now go back here. Oops. Got to click all the way in there. There we go. All right. And so now I already have my content. I go to this slide. And so we can develop those couple of things. Develop the webinar. Look at that. So you need a platform to do that. Right? You need professional dress. You also need quiet space. What else do you need? Platform, professional dress, quiet space, and you need, is there anything else? Platform, professional dress, quiet space. It's pretty much what you need. That's all I have here today. You don't need much more than that. Oh, you actually do. You need content. If you don't have anything to teach, which we all have something we can teach people. Let's go and see what they give us. I think I like that one. Yes. Or do we want that? It's not bad. I just kind of like the flow of this. All right. And so here I am, we're, this is improv, but if I was teaching the webinar on continuing to teach my webinar, develop the webinar. So first of all, you need a platform. So what does that mean? You need something in order to be able to tape your webinar. And so right now I'm using Zoom. I like Zoom because I can do multiple things with it, actually. I can create, I can't actually go to it right now without messing up some things, but I can create the time that I want to do the webinar. I can have people to register, put it so people have to register in order to access it. I can password protect it. I can put my logo in there. So multiple other little things that I can do. And as a matter of fact, we're going to go over here to another one is Venmo that you can use. And there's some other free ones that you can use. I personally, I use Venmo sometimes, but I like Zoom just because it's a lot more user-friendly to me than Venmo. But I use Venmo to create my videos in order to put onto my YouTube page for the most part. You do not have to use Zoom though. All right, so, all right, and this is showing that currently I am recording this webinar, okay? But here's a list of other webinars that I've created. And, you know, I can go right here if I want. I can share them with someone. I can make it public. This says whether or not they can download it. I actually password protect my things, and so I'll come back at some point and do that because that was one I just created. There you go. So you see that these are different things that you can create in this space right here. I can also, you know, if I needed to, I can download it or delete it. In Zoom, they have a service where you can actually do a webinar service. They charge more for that. I've learned to save money just by recording my meetings and titling it as a webinar and going ahead and upload it. I do it live and the person can interact with you during that time. Now with the webinar, you can have you know, if you need a larger amount of individuals, but you can have up to 100 to do that. And so when you're creating this, you know, if you need that additional service, you can certainly do that. So here right now, if I wanted to schedule a meeting, I would go in here and I would say how to create a webinar, or let's just be very generic, create a webinar. Put what it's about, making a webinar. Using PowerPoint and Zoom. Okay, and select a template is sometimes if I have a recurring kind of meeting and I don't want to go over and over again in creating that, I can just go to that template and I put what time, how long, do I want it to be recurrent? Here's that button that I was sharing with you about required registration, and you can tell it what you want it to have. Mine, I typically want the person's first and last name. I want their email address, and I want to know their zip code and or city and state, because I want to know what areas people are accessing my content. And you create a subscription list when people register so that you can send them other information when you create other webinars. And so meeting ID, you can get them to generate one automatically, or you can use your personal meeting ID, which I personally, I like them to create a new one each time because it helps me when I pull up a webinar, when I pull up Zoom to know I'm in the right meeting. Okay, you can create a password, post video. Now, when you're doing this live, Unless this is how you want to interact with them, I typically have the participants video off. I want people to focus on me because I'm the instructor. I don't want people to focus on people playing with their dogs in the background, their kids and all that other stuff. That's a time and place for that, but during the middle of my webinar, it's not that time. So I can tell it to have that off and have mine on. But if I'm doing a one-on-one training, then certainly you want them to be able to have their video on. As far as audio, you want to do both for the most part. I can change if I want them to be able to dial in from other localities. Mine is always the US. But if you just do telephone, then that means the person will log into your video, but then they have to your webinar, they have to call in just by telephone. If you do just computer, means they can't call in by telephone. They can only do it by the internet audio. I do both because you never know what people are. They may be watching your webinar from their phone or their computer or what have you. I do like to click enable join before the host. If you have issues with being on time and you're going to be significantly late, that would not be a good idea. But if you typically are going to be logging in within a few minutes on either side of the hour when you start it, that's fine. You definitely want to mute participants. You can always unmute them when you get ready if you're doing a live webinar. Enable waiting room, yes, because if you're going to have them join beforehand, it gives them an idea that they're waiting. And you can also have, if you have an enable waiting room though, you actually have to click each one to let them join in. So sometimes that may be cumbersome if you're going to have 100-some people to all bring them all in. So you can click enable join before host and not click enable waiting room. Finally, you can tell once the meeting starts to record the meeting automatically. I've learned the hard way not to do that, because what happens is I may be setting up and I cut it on and it's recording me looking at the computer, trying to figure out what I'm doing. And it just doesn't, it looks very tacky. So I begin the recording once I'm ready to start. All right. And then finally, I would click save, and there we go. Now I have a meeting scheduled. I can add it to my calendar. There's a password there. And that, by the way, that password is just a generic password. I can even go back and add my logo in here for branding if I wanted to. What else? Now, because people have to register, I can just copy and paste that. Right click that, put copy link address, and send it to someone real quick if I want to do that, or have something a lot more professional. And it says that right there, and I copy that and I will put that into an email template and send it off. All right, and so I'm going to cancel this meeting. Delete. All right, and we will come out of that, and now we'll go back to our webinar. So you choose the platform that you want. I'm a little biased. I use Zoom. Professional dress. You don't have to have on a 3-piece suit, but you don't want to do a webinar in your pajamas. I'm going to be quite honest. If I'm buying something from you and you're in your pajamas, or you don't look business casual, is fine too. I'm not going to want to buy that webinar. Now, if you don't plan on showing your face at all and you're just going to talk in the background, that's fine. It doesn't matter what you wear, but if you're going to have your face showing, be presentable, polo shirt, is fine. And women, a nice little blouse, pullover blouse is fine. But, your pajamas is in no way, shape, or form what you want to be wearing. Finally, a quiet space, somewhere where you have a little distractions. Right now with the pandemic, everyone here is in my home, and so it's not going to be the quietest. You may hear, as a disclaimer, you may hear my dogs in the background or hear my kids walking around through the house. However, other than that, you still want to create a space, not only just so it's not distracting to your audience, but so it's not distracting to you while you're trying to instruct. It's like being in the middle of the classroom and people just coming in and out and things are going on. It's not a good learning environment, okay? And then finally, you have to have your content is what we have right here. Now, what was our next thing? We talked about building confidence, right? Let's grab that. Build confidence to make presentations. And so what I do is click on this and you're like, how do you bring that other slide up? You just hit your enter key and it'll come right there, or you could go here and click new slide, okay? But I already have one. And actually, let's play with this a little bit so you guys can see this. All right, and so for this one, it said build confidence. You can do this. Keep it simple. Have fun, right? Now I want to add a picture. And let's see. It wants to add one from my computer, but I don't want to do that. I want to add one from, there we go. So when I click on here, sometimes the templates won't let you alter it. So that's okay. This is what I'm going to do to get rid of this. If I hit the backspace, that goes away. I literally just deleted it, but I want to add a picture. So here it is, it says pictures. If I click on that, then that means I'm going to, pictures here, it means I'm going to add, I'm looking for a picture from my computer, okay? I use stock photos most of the time. And so confidence is what we're talking about, right? So let's type in confidence. All right, and what would be something very jazzy? I kind of like that one. You be you, confidence is in you. Okay, those other ones I already don't like them. I like this right here because by the time we finish, yours should be up. All right, now to let you know, these are copyrighted, so you don't, it is unwise and can cause you all kinds of legal problems if you don't keep that content there. So I personally some people don't want to do that because, you know, they don't want someone to know that they have free images. I'm not really concerned about that. I give credit to where credit is due. As a doctor of philosophy, I understand what it means to credit people's work. I'm also a published author, have 3 published works out right now. And so I understand that I want to get credit for my work. So I give people credit for theirs. And I'm encouraging you to do the same, not to mention that it can cause legal problems, right? And so here are the different, you see that, the different little templates they give you. That one is okay. That's okay. Kind of like that one. There we go. So building confidence, you can do this. As you see, in about 20 or 30 minutes, I've already created 7 slides. I have an extra one there. Let's take that one out. Not ready for that yet. I've created 6 slides, I'm sorry, and already started teaching you content on how to build a webinar. And so, you know, you have access to this. You go back and play it and you create your own if there's some things you're missing. Obviously, I hope you were taking notes and, you know, paying attention, but this is very simple to do. It doesn't have to be complicated at all. As you see, there's not a lot of words on each slide, okay? So it's not, the audience is not going to be sitting here reading and reading and reading and reading everything that I write on here. Instead, they're going to be paying attention to my voice and paying attention to me, just as I shared with you. There we go. And so you can do this, and keeping it simple is, like I said, and have fun with it. It really doesn't matter if your presentation looks just like my presentation. It's about you. Your presentation should be a reflection of you. I'm a colorful individual. I enjoy teaching. I enjoy sharing. And so I have a lot of fun with this. I've seen people that just do PowerPoint presentations with just the words. They don't do the graphics. It's very simple. And that's okay too, as long as you are providing the content and you're giving the person some value. And I know at the end of this, you all will definitely have some value from this that I'm sharing with you, okay? And then here's the third one right here. Educate on how webinars can create additional income. And I saved that for last because what do you know? That is the overarching thing that we're trying to accomplish here, right? Generating some additional income. Now, I personally do not like that slide anymore, so let me find another one. Don't like that one. It's a matter of trial and error. It's nothing major. There we go. Now I have to take out the other two slides because I didn't use those, and all I did was hit delete. In case you're wondering about that. Okay. Now we don't need that whole title. We just need part of it, and I like to cheat, so that's why I just copied and pasted. I essentially, in case you guys didn't realize, that essentially is an outline. Okay, I showed you an outline here, right? But that's an outline. This is not hard stuff, guys. This is not rocket science. This is very, very simple. The core of this is the content that you deliver, and you add the value here. So additional income, and let's go ahead and talk about that. And so why, and then let's talk how. Okay, why additional income? Rainy day, every day makes sense. How? Website. We go. First we go live, right? And then we go on demand. That's a better. This is how I create webinars. I'm thinking of the catchy words and phrases. Live, on demand, and free. Okay. And I want to move that over a little bit. I'm hoping this gives me a really nice slide. Okay, they're saying they don't have any ideas for me. That I don't like at all. Let me do this. Let me see what happens when I move this over here. How? Go there, and there says why. And remember I told you we can take these out. All I need to do is hit the backspace here, that goes away. Hit the backspace here. That goes away, and then one more time to make the box go away. Actually, I could put a picture here. Let's do that. Pictures online. We're talking about income. There we go. So we're talking about money. Money. People want to see money. Oh, I love this one. Because why do we need money? It's not necessarily the money, it's what we can do with money. And they didn't give me much else to go on, so it's okay. I will show you how to tweak it. All right. And so I want this to look uniform. I take that Y from there. I'm going to put the Y here. I want it to line up with this other thing. I don't want a bullet here. Take that out. Backspace. Backspace, that is gone. Let's see if they gave me something now. Haha, you see that? There we go. All right, so it's giving me a little bit of ideas here. And actually, I like the way that they made that bigger. There we go. And so we have this income slide here. And then if I'm teaching, here I go, I talk a little bit about this. So why create additional income? Okay, you don't want to have just one stream of income, guys. So let's say you work a full-time job, you have one business, your business folds. That's the only income you have. You will not be able to take care of these items here, your medical, utilities, retirement, food, house, none of that, right? you could, so let's say your job is going fine, your business is going fine, but it just is enough to cover the things that you needed to cover. What happens if there's a rainy day? You know, if business starts going down, if we are on shutdown for a coronavirus pandemic, if there is something catastrophic that comes in your family and you need additional income, a medical crisis or some other thing, then this additional income you could have just stirring up and piling up in order to take care of that. Okay. Every day. Another reason why you can be generating income every day or on a consistent basis. You have your webinars created, and while it's passive income, in other words, while you are at your job, if you own a restaurant or you own a private practice like I own, or you work at a job, while you're doing that, you have your, as the young folks say, your coins working for you. And so someone's on your website and they buy a webinar for 20, 30, 40 bucks and get some education. And then you're getting these deposits and you've already done some initial work that is still generating you income. And it's called passive income. And so finally it says, what else makes sense? It just makes sense. It makes sense to have more than one income. Think about when you travel. When you travel, do you just already ahead of time just pay for your lodging and your transportation? And you say, I'm good. If the, vacation travel agent says everything's included and you don't bring any money or any, you know, credit card or anything like that? Or do you get your travel agent to get everything included, but you take some extra cash with you just in case there's something that happens, in case you get there and, you know, the travel agent did everything, but there's a breakdown in communication and you're not stuck outside. It just makes sense. And so how do you create this? You do it live. You schedule this, you know, schedule a time that you're going to have your webinar, and you inform people. You inform people in your social media, you inform people in your business that I'm doing a live event and I'm going to be teaching people how to create additional income by through webinars. Boom, you do that. You record it like I'm doing right now, and then people can get it on demand. And they'll go to your website. You drive the traffic to your website, and people see it, right? And they would order it on demand. So again, you did the one time, but then it still generates income. And then also, I put here free. Some webinars you want to offer for free. You want people to see, first of all, that you're able to teach some material before they get into the point. If they don't know you from a can of beans, a can of paint, they don't want to necessarily spend 20, 30, 40, 50 bucks or however much you're going to charge for this particular webinar and not going to get anything in return for that. So offer some free webinars on different things. Like I have webinars on self-care. I have webinars on meditation and different things like that. I have a slew of them. Please go to my website and check those out. But I have those there so that people, if they're kind of curious and says, hey, she looks like she may know what she's talking about, but I'm not really sure, I have some free content there that not only is of value to them, but they can also see that my services is worth the money that they're going to spend. Okay. And so that was the final thing, right? Because we did all three, 1, 2, 3. Now at the end, you want to summarize. Okay. And they gave me that same slide. I don't really like that one. I want more of a text one. And so let me show you another way I cheat and do that. If they give me a slide that I really don't like. So what I did was select this, and I'm going to hit Control-C, and I'm going to copy it. Okay. And then what I do is select the slide that I want, where I want to place it. So I'm selecting this one and I want it to go right underneath it. So now that I've selected that, it's going to go right under there, Control-V, and there it is. Now, what I'm going to do is delete this other slide because I don't want that. Now, I don't want purpose, but I want to use this particular thing. So summary, all right, I say, in summary, what I've pretty much discussed is that you need to know your create a webinar for your audience, right? That's i.e. your avatar. We talked about that, right? What else? Let's go back and see what else we talked about. Oh, right here, we talked about having confidence by teaching what you know and dressing appropriately, right? We talked about that. And then finally, we talked about income, right? And we keep it simple to create, keep it simple and create, keep it simple while creating multiple streams of income. Wow, you see that? So simple. We are doing this together. All right, and now we'll already see one I like. I really enjoy doing this, believe it or not, guys. All right, look at that. Create a webinar for your audience, i.e. your avatar. I need to use the same tense. Okay, having, now if I say creating, I will continue to say that, but have confidence. Actually, I like this word better. Gain confidence by teaching what you know and dress appropriately. Okay, your subject verb agreement. You want to keep it simple, and that doesn't need to be capital, but we could certainly make that bold. What would that look like? Bold and underline it, right? Keep it simple. Wow. Keep it simple. I like this better. Let's do this. Create multiple streams of income. All right, and then let's go back and make that bold. There we go. Don't want to change that. And then finally, here's one more slide here. And what it does is whenever you hit enter, it's going to create the same type of slide that you had before. I want to thank people, right? And then when I thank them, what I do is I want to drive them to my website, okay? So first and foremost, there's my website. I can say connect with me, and I say website, do that. I tell them about my social media, so they will follow me and they can see other content that I offer. Facebook, Instagram, and you want multiple presence, guys. So I do that. And then here's Twitter. Right, and then I'm also on YouTube. All right, and so let's go look at that one. And that is not user-friendly at all. That's okay. I like that one a lot better. That one even more so. That one looks, what you don't want is things to be too busy and people can't see it. And so as I wrap this up, guys, let me go back to our presentation so you guys can see what we created together and how to develop webinars to create multiple streams of income, right? And we hit enter, we have our purpose there. We talked about background, tell people who you are, creating the content, knowing your audience and what you want them to learn, develop the webinar, you need a platform, professional, business casual dress, quiet space, and you need content. You need something to teach people what you know. You build confidence, knowing basically just by watching this webinar that you can do this. Is very, very simple. You may have seen these presentations and all along until you took this webinar, you thought it was very, very difficult, but it's not. And then why to create the additional income first and foremost, to have multiple streams of income in case anything comes about, how you do it live, on demand, and then some you want to do for free. And there in summary, you can create that for your audience, gain the confidence, keep it simple, right? And then so I personally want to thank you all for allowing me to teach you how to create the webinars. I do, like I said, I have a slew of them on my website, and you can go to www.azz-erturself.com and click on the tab that says webinar. You can also find my books, find From the Voice of a Fractured Mind, Speak Loud, as well as my journal, Finding Your Voice, okay, on my website. All right, and so everything I'm telling you guys to do, I model myself. This book right here, you can find on my website. You can also find Your Voice, A Guided Journal to Mental Clarity. You can find that on my website. I'm also published, my dissertation is published as well. And so you can follow me on Facebook. I do provide motivation on all of my social media content, education on mental health, as well as other things that I also talk about in my book on a daily basis. You can follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. So it has been my pleasure to teach this material to you. And I just taught you how to create a webinar for additional income, right? So you guys go and crush whatever it is you're doing today. Take care of yourselves.